Have you ever had to deliver bad news at work, like giving someone on your team a bad performance review? Or maybe you had to have a difficult conversation with your boss, letting them know that you aren't happy in your role or you're having a problem with somebody on the team. In this video, we're going to show you how to turn these difficult conversations at work into productive conversations and reduce some of that awkwardness. Now, even if you aren't planning on having a difficult conversation at work, it's still good to have a framework and some tips in mind just in case you get pulled into a random meeting or your manager pulls you aside impromptu and says that they want to give you some feedback. And difficult conversations aren't all bad. They can lead to productive outcomes and even strengthen relationships sometimes. All right, so let's talk about how you should plan to have these difficult conversations. Number one, start by describing what you want to get out of this conversation and be direct. It can be as simple as, hey, I wanted to talk to you about the disagreement we had in yesterday's meeting. Number two is use I statements when you want to talk about your feelings or your perspective. Try to avoid using the word you as much as possible. Using you too much will put them on the defensive and you'll spend most of your conversation trying to calm them down and not trying to escalate things and make things worse. Try something like, I feel like we aren't communicating well and I am starting to get frustrated by that. Number three is express that you want to resolve this situation and maybe even list some of the positive outcomes that can come after the resolution. For example, I think if we can work through this, we'll be able to provide the best presentation to the VP. We'll both get some really good visibility, which will in turn help our performance rating and bonuses this year. Number four, make sure you're asking them for their perspective and their opinions. Now, very important here, make sure you genuinely listen and be very mindful of your body language. Shorter is usually better here, and have them do most of the talking and have them give you the context and the explanation. Try something like, how are you feeling about this? And lastly, make sure that you're negotiating and finding a way to meet in the middle or create a win-win. Even if you know that you are right, you still need to find a way for both of you to get something out of the argument. Remember, they won't be willing to change or help you if they aren't feeling heard and if only you are getting what you want. Now, make sure to practice these difficult conversations with friends or family members before tackling and having these serious conversations at work. For me, when I wanted to ask my manager for a raise, I actually practiced with my mom, who's a director at her company. This was great because my mom knew exactly what my manager would be saying and how they would try to poke holes in my argument or make me feel uncomfortable. Now, for me, the hardest part of these difficult or awkward conversations is the nerves that you get leading up to the conversation. So try to schedule or have these conversations early on in the day. You don't want these to be lingering over you all day. It will really affect your productivity and your mental space. Alrighty, well, thank you all for listening, and if you learned something new, drop a like down below or subscribe if you want more free advice on interviewing, resume writing, and networking. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video.